Looking at prospect of the week here to round this out, Drew, who do you got?
All right. I'm kicking it off this week with Martin Ledbetter from Hinkley Big Rock. Um, and this is a tough one for me. It it brings some challenges up when you talk about doing the rankings. Because we hear all kinds of stuff, out there in the world about how we do rankings and blah blah blah. And hey, if you come to so many events, then they'll rank you this or that. Like Martin Ledbetter's guy, he's never been to a prep baseball showcase. He is ranked. He is a guy that I personally have never seen with my own two eyes. But he is a guy that has been floating around the just amateur baseball landscape for a while. Whether it was when we first heard about him just via, X, Twitter, seeing some videos. He's 6'5", 240. Um, he hits and pitches, plays first base. But luckily for us, like he did go to a prep baseball Ohio tournament. And they did see him hit a 2-run home run, and they have seen him, multiple times. And that's the beauty of what we do is, okay, like maybe I didn't get a personal great look at him, but I'm going to trust our guys in Ohio. And hey, he really stood out at this tournament. Like, okay, well, we have something on him. Now, my confidence level with him may vary from somebody that I have seen personally or, has been to multiple events, and then I've also tracked him in game. But from everything that we have seen on Martin Ledbetter, he's a name that people at least need to know about. 6'5", 240, like I said, he's uncommitted. Reports have his fastball all the way up to 90 or better. He also has really, really big right-handed juice in the swing. So that's a guy that from where I sit, whether he's come to an event or not, like people need to know who this is. He is an Illinois baseball product that is uncommitted, that is a senior, that, you know, people need to be on him. Especially somebody who's looking for that profile, a big, big physical arm that runs his fastball up to 90 or firmer, and somebody who's a potential middle of the order type of bat in a lineup. So that's my prospect of the week. It's varied a little differently than some of the ones I've chosen in the past because I don't have a ton of personal knowledge on Martin. I wish I did. I wish I had more, but from what I have, that's what it is, and that's what people need to know is there is a guy still floating out there um, that I think's talent wise and like traits wise. There's not many others that are still uncommitted out there like Martin.
Yeah, thanks. So, my guy is Nick Zaloni out of Mundelein. This is a kid. He's still developing physically. He's 5'10", 142, but it's a kid that I think once he gets in a legit college weight program, like could really take off. At our state games, he ran a 6'9", 960, but the thing that I've long liked with Nick, I went out and saw Mundelein this spring, really stands out with the glove and can really defend at shortstop. It looked to be the same exact story at our state games this summer. It's a kid who has a natural feel for the position. The arm strength's still developing, but he's so good with the glove that he doesn't need the super strong arm. He's accurate with his throws, and moves really well laterally. So Nick's a guy that just a true defensive shortstop, and I'm excited to see where he lands at the next level.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Hopefully, I don't butcher this last name here, but Mick Nybrug. Is that correct? I don't even. Gav shaking his head. Yeah,
I
so
think
I'm,
so.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna roll
I would
with
think
it.
so.
Yeah, he popped at the St. Louis Fall ID that we hosted down there. 6'3", 206, big, like long levered kid. He was a two-way guy that I really liked. I didn't see him on the mound that day, but Gav did, and he liked him. But at the plate, he's got a simple swing. He's long levered, like I said, uses him well. It's a flatter swing. He can stay through the zone. He can elevate to the whole field with some backspin up the middle. And there's some strength at impact too. He's up to like 96, I think, for the EV. And he moves well around first base as well. And then on the mound, he was 85 to 87, up to 88, spinning a curveball over 24, I believe, the max, but averaging about 23. And it's a long levered kind of like over the top delivery. get some leverage and create some angle through the zone on the fastball. But yeah, still uncommitted, two-way guy, has a real chance at both at the next level, really. But yeah, definitely wanted to give him a shout out.
And with you talking about him, Peter, digging into his numbers, this is something that I just want to hopefully help a high school, hitter out with. But everybody gets so caught up in the max exit velocity number. And yeah, it's important. And his was 95.6 from that St. Louis event. But what I want to bring up with that is his average. And it really stands out to me. And his average is 91.1. To me, the average exit velocity is more important, or it should be valued extremely high as a hitter. Whether you have an 88 mile an hour exit velocity or a 98 mile an hour exit velocity, I want to see personally that average as close to your max as possible. To me, it's worrisome. We'll see a guy that has a 101 max exit velocity and his average is down at like 88. So, okay, so he pieced together, one or two really hard hit balls in a round of 10, off a machine or off a guy throwing BP as down the middle and as easy to hit as possible, versus a guy who, okay, maybe he's not as strong as that guy that got that 98 mile an hour exit velocity, so maybe it's 88, but he's on 88 every time. It's 86, 87, 88, 87, 86, and his average is 86.5 and his max is 88. That stands out to me because that's somebody that can control the barrel and that can make consistent hard contact. And that goes like the same with catcher pop times. Everybody wants to be a sub 2.0 pop time. Okay, so you flash one that's a 197, and then you have a range from 197 to 2.2 because, 3 of 5 throws you couldn't get a grip on. You were rushing way too fast. They didn't hit the target. They, took 3 hops to get to second base. Rather than that guy that is repeatable, he's quick but not in a rush, and it's, 207, 208, 208, 209, 206. And they're all, his range is 206 to 209 and he's on the bag every time. It's like, okay, like, yeah, do I wish, I could see you flash a 199? Sure. But I want consistent, we want guys that can repeat. And that's, to me, the average is so important. And he also launched 351 as his max distance. So he's got plenty of bat strength. He was on the barrel with authority. And I know that's a long-winded call out, Peter, but these guys, they don't, I think they get so caught up in, let me see how hard I can throw a ball into a net. Let me see how hard I can hit a ball off a tee. But it's like, no, let's see how frequently we can repeat a good swing with bat speed, with minimal effort, with bat speed, with bat strength, and who can repeat it and be on the barrel. Because let's be honest, it's a BP round. And if you're not on the barrel a decent amount of BP, that's probably a problem. If you're that inconsistent and not on the barrel, so that's something that I definitely look for.
No, that's a great call out. I mean, it's obvious, right, Drew? Like when someone is clearly just trying to put up a number versus showing their feel to hit and they're still on the barrel, and it's, we would rather see 92 exit velo with a 93 max versus 100 and then 78, right? Because it's 100%. Clear, I could probably go up there and hit the ball as hard as I can and have it be somewhat impressive, but I was terrible at hitting. I was a pitcher. It's and then I like how you
go ahead. Sorry.
No,
I've seen you swing the golf club. I know you've got bat speed. There's got to be bat speed in there because you create a ton of club head speed with the golf club. But yeah, go ahead.
A lot of swing and miss. But I like the pop time call out too, because I remember a couple of years ago at a preseason All-State, I was talking with one of the kids. I'm not going to say who it was, but he was kind of bummed out that his pop time wasn't as good as everyone else's that day. It was a 195. Every single one was a 194 to a 198 or something like that. And he was bummed because some guys were better than that, but they were cheating. And I was like, well, dude, your pop times are legit. Those are, and they're so close together too that the other kids were 1.8 to 2 something because they're rushing, they're cheating. It's on video, you're just gonna look the best. and he ended up being, I don't know what he finished up as, but like a top two for sure catcher in that class. And he's at the Division I level right now and doing really well. So
And
it's not a
you just said
coincidence.
it. Well, you just said it, and I think it's a great point. Okay, yeah, we don't have a hitter in the box when we're doing pop times or a way to, make sure that it's the truest in-game pop time ever. And can kids slightly gain an advantage here or there? Possibly. But I will say, like, when we're throwing the catcher pop times or we're setting it up with our machine, like, we're trying to throw the ball low in the zone to make it harder to cheat, so they have to stay down on that ball. They can't get that the pitch out type of pitch that you would see to get that, really cheaty type pop time. But you said we video. So any college coach, like, okay, they're going to see the pop time. They're going to know it's in a showcase setting. Let me watch the video and let me see what the actions look like. Let me see, is he down in his crouch? Is he catching the ball first? What does his glove to hand exchange look like? What's the arm action? What's the flight of the ball? Because all of that stuff in reality is more important. How flexible your hips are when you're receiving those pop times. Your glove action, how soft are your hands? That is more important than a 198, a 192, a 197. It's what is playable. What will a coach see? Let me say, hey, you got a 192 on your profile, and then I go and I click into the video, and man, you're staying down. You're showing me flexible hips. You're catching that ball right, and you're just exploding out of the crouch, and you've got a huge arm, and it's like, okay, like that's a true 192. Like these coaches get it. And they know, they see it. It's not about, hey, let me, crow hop on the infield and throw 88. They're going to watch the video and they're going to be like, he's shuffling 3 times. Give us playable actions. Yeah, we want to see 88 across the infield, but it better be playable. Like we can see that. So, I know we're kind of going off topic there, but I think those things are so important because that is what my mind thinks when I see a guy crow hop 4 times on the infield because he's trying to get a number. It's thinking that's not playable. The runner is safe, and also half the time that throw is not accurate. So I know that's I get like a chuckle out of that or whatever, like, but it's reality. And I want these guys to know, like, I want these players to know that come to the showcases, like, yes, we want you to put up numbers. We want you to PR. Like, we want you to do all these things, but we're looking for what's a playable swing, what's playable actions, what's playable behind the plate and all that stuff.
And one more thing with Mick, he is from Teutopolis, which they're going to be a team to probably check out this spring. They have Austin Bories, who's a 26, committed to Lindenwood. And then Gavin Addis is another 2026 arm that's talented for them. And I'm sure that they have many more guys that we aren't sure of yet. But Teutopolis will be a team to check out this spring.
That is a storied program. There's a couple at that 2A level. Like immediately I think of T-Town, Teutopolis. I think of St. Joe Ogden and what they've done these past couple years. I know Joliet Catholic was 2A for a while. Then you got like Pleasant Plains out there that had a really good run for a while.
Monticello last year.
Yes, absolutely. Same with like 1A. I always think of Ottawa Marquette. There's these different programs, but no, there are players always coming out of Teutopolis. So that's
Yeah. So my uncommitted prospect of the week actually is Matthew Swartz from Monticello, and I saw him last spring because I went and saw Monticello quite a bit because they were in our Power 25. They were like undefeated for a really long time. I can't remember their exact record and how many games they had won in a row. I don't know if you guys.
I just know they had Luke Teschke and they had Ike Young. And
yeah.
Man, when you're talking about, any program that has those 2 arms, like you're going to be successful. But then when you start thinking, okay, this is a 2A program that can hang their hat on that. And they had other guys besides that. Like they had a real catcher and Eli Kraft. And I know the one you're going to mention right now, Matthew Swartz, but that's what really stood out to me is you got Luke Teschke going Illinois State, 2-way guy, and Ike Young, who just kind of came out of nowhere, and the sky's the limit for him. So sorry for jumping in.
Yeah, and Ike Young's going to Illinois. No, you're good. Ike Young committed to Illinois.
So yeah. Monticello.
Yeah, they had a really good spring, and I went and saw them quite a bit last year. And Matthew Schwartz was one of those guys. He was hitting 1 or 2 in their lineup. Sometimes he was fifth. Like it just kind of changed around. But he's an outfielder for them, and he's a left-handed bat. And the biggest thing for me is he's just an athlete. Like you look at him at the plate, a left-handed hitter with a really fluid swing, super loose wrist. I was watching his video from the state games the other day, and it was a super easy swing. And if you look at his metrics, his exit velo might not be super high. He's still got a lot of time to get better. But when Drew was talking about Gavin Terry earlier in the podcast, he kind of made me think of Matthew Schwartz when he was talking about that guy that he's an athlete and he has those loose wrists. He was on the barrel during his round. And that's what Matthew Schwartz reminds me of. Just a guy that flicks his wrists through the zone. He's an athlete, 6'9" runner. And I had not seen him, in a showcase event when I was watching him in the spring. But like I mentioned, I just really liked him with the bat, the way that he moved, his movement patterns. And that's super important. Like, are they an athlete? Do they look the part? And then after that, it's like, all right, let's try and figure out some of these metrics that they may have. We ended up seeing him at the state games, and uncommitted kid, 2025 from Monticello.
He was a guy I remember when you saw them play this spring too, Gavin, because his video stood out. You had video of him, hitting in one of those games, and exactly like you said, like it's how it should look, and he's only going to get better as he gets stronger and more mature. And those are the type of things that we're looking for. Like, what attributes do you have that are going to allow you to continue to improve? And he's got those movement patterns. He's got the kind of swing that could just continue to play up.
Yeah. Well, that's our uncommitted prospects of the week.